Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Venom, issue number 25. Ooh, Nelly. Ooh, this is going to be one of those soundtrack issues where the soundtrack, whatever I was listening to before that, blended really well. I picked a really, really good one. And just coincidentally, a certain song was playing that was just like, ho, ho, ho. It just enhanced the book even better. I'm going to tell you what that one is. Give me a hot minute. It's also going to depend on how fast you read compared to how fast I read, but yeah. Anyway, let's get talking about who made this comic book first. I'm going to break into the story. I'm going to tell you about the soundtrack. I'm going to tell you about all that good stuff. So, Venom. Issue number 25. Donnie Cates is the writer, Mark Bagley on pencils, Andy Owens on inks, Frank Martin on colors, VC's Clayton Cowles on letters, Ryan Stegman, J.P. Meyer, and Frank Martin all do the cover art and the two-page montage sequence art. I was actually able to tell that. I said, this isn't Bagley doing these pages. At least the one page for certain. Anyway, a whole bunch of variant cover arts. I don't know which one you got, particularly that all black cover that just said Venom on it in white. I'm thinking a nice white marker, somebody doing a cool sketch on there for you, a nice commission. I'm saying, I'm saying that could be cool. So there's also another story in the back of this book, and I'm like really happy they threw this in here. But where is it? I don't know why they did it this way. Anyway, it's oh, here we go. David Michelini on writing, Ron Lim doing the pencils, J.P. Meyer doing the inks, Eric Arciniega on colors, and VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letter. And basically, this is a story about canned peaches. Yeah. You can crack jokes and be like, what? But that's what the story really is. So we start off with Eddie Brock talking to... Basically, I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you didn't read it yet, but I was able to figure out who it was. It really didn't seem that, big of a, surprise. He indicated that it was more than one person he was talking to, and the way that he was talking to them, it only made perfect sense who it actually was. So I'm cool with it, but if you figured out who it is, yeah, it was simple. If you didn't, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So he's having a conversation with these guys, and he's telling them basically all these different parts of what happened, how the Venom symbiote, basically all the stuff that happened, on Venom Island. This is the conclusion, the true conclusion to Venom Island. Eddie is trying to get out of this jail cage that Carnage has put up. Mind you, Cletus is gone. Cletus Cassidy, he's gone, right? He's dead, technically. But the Carnage symbiote, that's an entirely different form of evil. And it's here and it's messing with Eddie. The Venom symbiote in and of itself is being controlled by Dylan back at home, Eddie's son, through a portal that he's doing, and Sleeper is right there. So, mind you, the Venom symbiote, who's hanging out with Eddie, who's more like a dog, who is, Dylan has a cat. Okay, so I'm going to have to associate with Dylan a little bit more, because I'm a cat guy. I don't need some loud, noisy, freaking slobbering ass dog running around all the place. Shut up, you stupid dog. Oh my God. Anyway, that's just me. Love dogs, but man, they are freaking noisy. So Dylan, of course, has the Venom symbiote in the form of a giant T-Rex. Unfortunately, he's just a kid, and he's not a psychopathic murderer like the Carnage symbiote, so the Carnage symbiote's kind of winning this fight, but it's a freaking gorgeous fight from beginning to end anyway. You're seeing the power that Dylan has. I'm looking at this, I'm like, holy crap, he's Neo. He's Neo. He's Mr. Thomas J. Anderson from The Matrix. Wow, this was hot. This was hot. Bagley is murdering it in the art department here. Like, there could be no words. I would still look at this and be like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's amazing. Would I be able to follow along as well? Nah, you still need Cates in there. But this was amazing, dude. Look this one image right here of the door showing up. Like, somebody's been reading some Necronomicon stuff lately. You know what I'm saying? That is, oof, that is beautiful. Anyway, so this whole fight is happening, and Dylan's got to go and try and, while he's dealing with Carnage, he's also trying to go inside of the symbiote to where Eddie, his dad, is trapped and have a conversation with him. Now, this is where I get into the soundtrack. Because this whole time I've been listening to Black Sabbath's, I believe it was a 1995 album. It's called Forbidden. freaking fantastic album. You got to kind of get through the first 2 songs. If you've never heard the album before, you got to kind of get through the first 2 songs. By the time you get to that 3rd song, though, holy crap. And even then, that song, it takes a couple moments to actually get into the song itself, when all of a sudden Tony Iommi, who is like, I'm going to argue, the greatest riff man ever. Nobody has made as many incredible riffs as him. Wow. Fairly easy to play. That finger helps him get that extra twang that the rest of us probably aren't going to get easily without like you having a bottle at the end. But anyway, holy crap. By the time that the 3rd song, we broke into the 3rd song, was that Can't Get Near You? Crap. You know what? I got it right here. Can't Get Close Enough. There we go. Can't Get Close Enough. I'm like thinking of the lyrics in my head. By the time that it breaks into the riff of that song, that's when I actually had, that's when I got to the part where Dylan is talking to Eddie through the cage. That's actually when the song started, but when the riff hit, that's when all of a sudden Cletus shows up behind him. And it's actually Carnage, but in Cletus's body. He's still going to, represent himself as Cletus when he can. And it was just the perfect transition, like how I got to everything. Oh man, if you already read this book, consider going to YouTube, playing that song, that whole album for free, Forbidden from Black Sabbath, and just read it the way that I was reading it, and just get into it, really enjoy it. And holy crap, man, that blew me away. Like, perfect background soundtrack to what I'm just like, I'm reading the book doing this, and that's a testament to how good this book is, and how, like, I've always looked at it as Black Sabbath is, I don't care what Donny Cates says and what he thinks that his stories, what the soundtrack to his story should be, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Black Sabbath, all right? Black Sabbath is what you play his freaking, or what you play when you're reading his, at the very least, his Venom comic books. Black Sabbath all the freaking way. Okay, let's get back to the actual story. Dude, no, this comic book was just hard-hitting power action. I'm going to tell you what... Bagley, brah. Bagley, baby. Yo, Stegman, man. I know my boy's working through some stuff, but I can't wait to have you back. But for right now, I'm happy with just Bagley out here. Like, all the respect in the world. Stegman, you are the Venom artist. But I gotta show it again. He's got like the Venom thing. It's a T-Rex, baby. Oh, man. Again? Yo, so check this out, dude. As crazy as this book is, it doesn't waste its time with the frivolous stuff. As you should expect, it doesn't waste its time with the frivolous stuff. It's just like, hey man, check this out. He gets back home and he starts talking to the Avengers, right? It doesn't matter how he got home. He explains how he got home inside of a text bubble, while that text bubble is, the word balloon, is already explaining other stuff too. So I could tell you how he got home, but who cares? Why would I spend more time on it than Donny Cates did? So this is a beautiful thing, man. Like, so much about this book is a beautiful thing. I'm going to tell you something I really liked about the book, especially, might surprise you, or it might not, depending on how many of my reviews you've watched. And I'm going to tell you something that I really hated about the book. So, I loved the idea, this right here in the very beginning. Bam. I have talked about the preamble so many times. If you saw my most recent 10 things, 10 gripes about comic books, that I did 5 and Comic Boom did 5 also. Yeah. Hour and a half video, totally worth watching though. We both give 5 of our own things that we hate about comic books. One of the things that I hate is that people don't put the preamble in a book. I say there's never a time to not put the preamble in the book. And this one did it better than most books I've ever read. It's a whole page devoted to it. It doesn't even waste time telling you who made the book. The whole thing is devoted to this stuff. And that's important right now because this is the first week that Marvel Comics is putting physical comic books out, right? Since the COVID-19 thing. So we see, who is Venom? Hey, John Byrne rule. believe it or not, there are people out there who have never read anything by Venom before, never seen the cartoon, never seen anything. Or maybe they've seen like, an image and they're just like, oh, wow. Huh, that looks cool. Maybe the only thing they've ever watched was Spider-Man 3, and that's the only Venom they know. And like, Venom sucks. Screw that guy. So if they're going to pick up a Venom comic book, suddenly somebody twisted their arm and made them buy a Venom comic book, and this is, coincidentally enough, the first Venom comic book they picked up, you want to make sure they know who the hell Venom actually is in the comic books. So don't tell me that preamble doesn't belong in every single comic book. This is who Venom is. This is what's been happening in the story so far. And since I haven't read a Venom comic book for 2 months, and the funny thing is, it wasn't even that important because they already explained the stuff in the book. Yet, it was done. Cates, man. The dude is a master of his craft. This is crucial. But even if it wasn't there, me, having read what had already happened, I was easily reminded of everything. So, if you've been reading Venom since issue 1, and you read the Absolute Carnage stuff, you don't need to read this. You don't need to read any of this if you don't want to, because the book itself will explain everything you need to have remembered in order to enjoy this comic book. But if you've never read Venom before, or this is the first time jumping on Donny Cates' run, fear not, my friend, fear not. Read this if you don't know who Venom is. Read this if you haven't been reading the story. You will be totally good to go. Just, man, every single base is covered. That is how you write a goddamn comic book, and that's just the first page. That's the introduction. That's before the comic book itself even actually starts. That is how I don't want to hear anybody ever tell me that you do not need a preamble. Yes, you 100% do. Now let me talk about the thing that I hated about the book. Carol Danvers is in here. All the Avengers are in here. Everybody says a little bit something. We get Thor, suddenly realizing, holy crap, because Eddie comes clean that, okay, Null is coming. Why he decided to finally tell them, the idea of his hand having been cut off and whatnot. Hey, other, think you can help me out? Well, all of it, right? But Carol Danvers is here. I don't ever want to see Donny Cates write a freaking Carol Danvers book. Keep Kelly Thompson on the book. Donny, don't you dare touch freaking Carol again, because with all due respect, brother, all due respect, this is constructive criticism. You got a bunch of people out there who'll just say garbage, trash, and they won't explain anything. I'm gonna lay it straight. All right, straight shooter, brother. Boom, shoot from the hip. That's me. You suck at writing Carol. Fix your craft. Learn who Carol actually is. I don't want to see Carol flirting when we're in the middle. We just heard that a symbiote demon god who's like Cthulhu and every other he who shall not be named entity coming to Earth to freaking destroy the universe and put the whole multiverse, possibly the entire omniverse, into freaking darkness. Do not tell me that Carol Danvers is so stupid that she's going to be like, hey, great to see the beard back. And She-Hulk saying, Carol. She's like, what? Haven't you had enough run-ins with Comicsgate that you know that they're scum? They're at the end of the day, besides whatever valid criticisms they may have, it's lost in the dust by the idea of how toxic and how ridiculous these creature features are. And you just gave them ammunition now. These are people who actually believe that Carol Danvers is a real person. Because they're like, see, Carol is trash. Like, there's demons coming, and she's flirting with Eddie because he's got a beard. Ugh. Well, Carl Manvers, she wants a beard anyway. I'm surprised she doesn't get a surgically implanted beard in the first place. Bruh. This is what you're dealing with. And you just had Carol Danvers do something like that? Please ring up Kelly Thompson if you want to know what Carol, because I don't think that, I just don't think that she would say that. Again, Cates, love you, bruh. This wasn't Carol. And I really don't like that she was done like that. Like, that wasn't humor. I don't think there's a single person out there anywhere, like if you had to insert a little bit of humor in something, I don't think there's a single person out there who will actually find this genuinely funny. Not a Carol fan, not a comic skater, and not anybody in between. I really just don't see it. This was the worst. It was such a downer seeing that. Like, even with Ronnie James Dio in the background, I was like, I got to put this thing down, man. What the hell? Like, did she really? Nah, let me go back and read that. Oh, no, he did not. No, he did not make her do that. Yo, I just praise the hell out of this book. I'm being honest. I don't make these reviews for the comic book writers or the comic book artists. I'm willing to give credit if ever they decide to look at one of these, but I'm being dead honest. That was the dumb, like, dude, this is a Donnie made a dum-dum moment. All right? Don't quote that. But anyway, this was a terrible, terrible, terrible addition to the comic book. And for me, while it didn't ruin the whole comic book, hey, you ruined my childhood, you ruined comic books. No, I'm not a freaking exaggerationist numbskull like some of the, the comics gators. But I'm telling you, from the hip, that was a really dumb thing to put in. I hated that. God, if there's one thing I could just remove from comic books this entire week of all the comic books that came out so far, that would be the thing. Wow, that was dumb. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that because all in all, you take out that one little thing. If you act like Carol wasn't even in this book, bruh, this was an amazing comic book. Plus, you get Michelini and Lim in the back drawing peaches. They was drawing peaches? I'm about to go and break into my prepper stash right now and pull out some freaking canned peaches. I'm saying. This was a good comic book, dude. Front to back, I absolutely love it. Love that they're doing advertisements on comic books. I'm going to be talking about this in my podcast coming up this Sunday with Chillmonger. Yo, what up? How come they can put in these awesome ads in the end of comic books and whatnot, but comic books themselves can't advertise, and you don't really do enough to support us who are advertising you guys for free? Something to think about. All right, I'm out. Guys, 25th anniversary. Get this comic book. Get whatever cover you want. Get that black cover so you can get a white pen commission on it because it's worth it. Whew, and I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.